welcome to The1Show with Christine Blakely.
And Adrian Childs, and the nearest we'll get to having the Queen on board, Dame Helen Mirren is here.
Yes, welcome to The1Show. To get the deportment of sitting like the Queen, how does one do it?
Oh,
Could
well,
you teach
first
me to
of all,
sit like the
absolutely, one sits with one's knees together.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And one's hands very relaxed in one's lap. And also one has to wear a brooch. I happen to be wearing the British Legion brooch today that they're selling.
Not inappropriate.
For the to get money for the ex-service.
She must do Pilates to maintain this position all day. It's not especially...
No, absolutely upright and chin back, my dear, chin back. Not up, back. Not up like that.
That's much
back.
better.
That's it. There you go.
Just like the Queen.
Yes. And you do have to have a handbag by your side.
Oh, he has one of those.
I've got my high heels on as well. Calm down. Thank you very much. No, I've got to stop that. The Bank of England may cut interest rates on Thursday. Yeah, at ease, absolutely. In the good old days before the economic world went a bit nuts, when the Bank of England cut its interest rate, then lenders would then cut mortgage rates accordingly.
Now, though, they probably won't. Who knows where mortgage rates are heading? And if you think they're going up and your current deal's about to expire, you might want to take on a fixed rate.
But what if your current deal doesn't expire for 6 months? By that time, the fixed rate you fancy might have expired too.
Well, as it turns out, you can actually book ahead and fix your rate for 6 months' time. All complicated. Over to The1Show's Money Man.
Imagine the scenario. Your mortgage deal finishes in 6 months' time and you need to remortgage. Now, in these troubled times, that can be a bit scary. How do you know what deals are going to be out there? And how do you know whether you can afford them?
If only you could travel through time to find out what the future holds.
Well, as it happens... Right, let's see what's going on 6 months in the future. The weather's still the same.
Daily rag.
Oh, lovely. OK, let's find out what's going on. How much is that, mate?
Tenner, please, boss.
Struth, that's gone up in price, hasn't it?
Cheers, mate.
Right. Oh, scandal, invasion, disaster. Mortgage interest rates rising? I'm going back to the present. Right, looking at this, I'm going to be offered a really bad mortgage deal in 6 months' time, and the repayments are going to skyrocket. But there is something I can do to protect myself against the future.
And it's not science fiction. Some mortgage lenders allow you to book their current rate of interest up to 6 months before you actually need it. So even if the economy goes pear-shaped in the meantime, you've reserved yourself a deal which you know you can afford, and the lenders will have to stick to it.
Now, the even better news is that if the mortgage rates drop in the future, you don't have to stick with a deal that you've booked. You can simply ditch that one and look for a better rate. It is a win-win situation.
However, there are a few things to watch out for. If you don't go ahead with a deal, you could face penalty fees, so check the small print. And be careful about trying it too often, because if you're credit checked each time, it could affect your credit rating.
Now, if you excuse me, one thing I did bring back from the future, next week's lottery numbers. Let's just say perk of the job.
It just gets so confusing, Dom, to be honest with you. But if you are looking for a mortgage today, if I were to go out to try and find one, how difficult is it?
There will always be mortgages available. Where they got a bit harder now is obviously the subprime market. So if you've basically got a good job, good salary, good credit rating, and most of all a good deposit, there are mortgages out there. There always will be. Where there's demand, there'll always be a supply.
OK, so they are available if you've got the right income. You don't want to borrow too much.
Yes.
There's been a change in the protection that your money on deposit has in banks, hasn't it? Because it was just the first 35,000.
Yeah, as of today, the Financial Services Compensation Scheme have upped that to £50,000. Now, you've got to bear in mind, that's £50,000 per account. Now, if you have, as you well know, there are certain companies that have loads of different accounts. For example, HBOS own Halifax, Bank of Scotland.
Different brands, you mean, rather than different accounts?
Yeah, Birmingham Mid-Shires, the AA, they're all under that particular umbrella. Now, if you had 50 grand in every one of those banks, you'd only be covered for 50 grand. You wouldn't get 50 grand per account. So really, the important thing here is to find out which umbrella you're under, and actually, make sure that your money is in just one of those.
OK. All right, Dom, thanks very much for that. If you're lucky to have more than 50,000 savings, of course.
Well, 2% of the population have, they say.
Yeah.
OK. Helen, we have much enjoyed your book.
Yeah.
Because it has a... I don't know why more autobiographies aren't like this, because there's sort of text and pictures all mixed up.
But it's crammed with photos, which I absolutely love.
Yeah,
it just tells
it's always
tales
fun
on
to look
their
at
own.
the pictures, I mean, I always love looking at the pictures in autobiographies.
If I may make one observation, though, you do look as if you've just opened your phone bill.
No, she doesn't.
She does. No, you does.
She looks sexy.
It was a photo shoot for a magazine, so I'm doing my sort of, pseudo model look.
Not even the hint of a
not
smile
very
on there.
successfully, yes.
You can't say that to damn Helen Mirren.
A story a story I didn't put in the book actually was related to mortgages. When I first got my mortgage, I had to pretend that I was going to get married. That's how it was in those days. I was getting a mortgage with a friend. We were sharing a house. I had to sit on his knee, when we went for the mortgage and pretend he was only a friend. He was actually living with a friend of mine. Yeah. But I had to sort of sit on his knee and pretend that I was going to get married to him. And that was the only way we could get a joint mortgage.
I had Dame Helen Mirren on my knee when I applied for my first mortgage. It's getting that hard now. Perhaps that's what you've got to do now. You've got to sit a dame on your knee. The way of getting a mortgage. Times were tough. You both grew up, oddly, in the same town.
Literally around the corner from each other, wasn't it?
Yeah, we just found that out. It's fantastic. We're a couple of Essex boys and girls.
And you both did similar jobs, I think, in the fairground, didn't you?
Did you work in the fairground?
I worked in the Chalkwell Fair. No, Mum was at Chalkwell Fair, the one that came round every year.
Oh, right, yes.
Yes, I used to entice people in and try and get them to throw the darts in the
That's exactly what I did. You
Was it
flagged.
really? Yes, it was...
No,
yes.
I don't believe it.
It's my first ever job.
That was exactly what I did. I blagged the dart stall.
I say something along the lines of, you get three in the cards and you win a soft toy.
Yeah, exactly. They never
get more than 3 and you get a cheeky boy. Something was a real corny line.
Helen, he's still blagging for a living as well.
So am I.
I wonder who blagged better, Dame Helen Mirren and Dom Littlewood.
Yeah.
We've got to set that up now, hadn't we? A little blag off.
Yes, it would be quite good.
Well, one of our viewers has a problem, doesn't she, Adrian?
Christine, she does. Sue Upton in Bexleyheath thinks cubicles in public toilets, ladies' cubicles, that is, are too small.
I agree, actually, in many cases.
Well, men's toilets are fine. There's not a problem in men's, as far as I know. In my extensive experience, I've had problems with smelly cubicles, doors with no locks, toilets with loose seats.
Or no seats.
Or no toilet paper. I can't say I've ever sat there with my knees pressed against the door thinking, you know what, this cubicle's a bit too small.
We're standing most of the time, though, aren't we? There's a difference, isn't
Is it different? Are your knees knocking on toilet doors?
Yes, and I don't hang around in gents' toilets, so I can't really compare them. But anyway, unlike our viewer, Sue Upton here for The1Show, is her Bexleyheath Bug Manifesto.
Ladies with an attitude.
This is the public toilet in Bexleyheath, my local shopping area. Despite refurbishment, no extra space has been provided in the cubicles. I'm sure I'm not the only long-suffering woman in the country, but I'd like to air my major bugbear, which is the total lack of space in ladies' toilets. It's obvious that women don't design cubicles. Look at that, only 3 inches clearance between the door and the toilet pan. How are we supposed to squeeze ourselves into a gap like that? Me and my friends are rolling out a campaign featuring our mascot, Toilet Duck. Restrooms are supposed to be restful, not public inconveniences. How did you find the space available for you to be able to get in and out of the toilet?
It was tiny, it was a nightmare. You sort of have to get in and twist around to use the facility.
Yeah.
It's like that much room between the toilet and the door.
You never make them big enough, and then time you put your bag down, you don't know where to put that or your coat.
The locks are too low down, so he'll try and get out if I'm trying to get to the toilet.
When you're sort of leaving, you have to sort of almost sit back onto the toilet.
I've only mentioned the toilet in Bexleyheath, but there are toilets all over the country that I have visited that have a similar space problem. Let's all sit down together and unite. Back bigger bogs!
Here's what